alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for joining us in this webinar once again. Yes, quite a few people have joined in. Let's straight away get into the topic for this week's webinar, which is a quite controversial topic. A lot of people have asked us this question, and it's the most popular question which comes up to us, which is whether intraday trading is permissible, whether this is what are the rules of intraday trading. Although we have sent out an article which is also available on the app as well as on the website in the blog section that says that rules of trading, in which we have discussed at length what is the process of intraday trading and what are the rules of it. We decided let's open up this webinar so that it becomes an interactive session and we get questions and answer them as we go along based on our knowledge, based on the knowledge that the scholars have given us, based on whatever the scholars have decided. If there are questions which I might not know the answer, inshallah, I will strive to get it clarified by the Sharia scholars and get back to you, either by updating the blog or by sending an email to all of you, inshallah. That's the agenda for today's webinar. Let's start. We have quite a few people who have joined in, alhamdulillah. Keep your questions coming. Keep writing your questions in the comment section below so that we can answer them at the end of the webinar. And as usual, inshallah, we will answer all the questions. I am here and I am not going anywhere, inshallah, before I finish to answer all your questions. Now, having said that, I hope you have seen all the intraday trading rules on our website. I will bring it up right away so that you have a clear understanding of what I'm talking about and where I'm talking about. If you go on the Islamicly website, click on the blog link, which is on the top right, you will get to see all of the articles that we have written so far and get to learn from it. If there are any questions regarding the article, put them in the comment section under the article and we will inshallah reply to them as well. In addition to that, on the Islamicly app and the Islamicly web, you have the section called the forum on the left hand side, or the forums on the bottom side of the app. You can have a look at that. If you have any questions in addition to whatever is there, you can ask us those questions as well. Right, I'll just share the screen currently and then show you what I'm talking about. Although a lot of you must have seen it, but we see a lot of new people who have joined us as well. I will just share my screen. There you go. This is the blog I was talking about. If you can see my screen, it's called Rules of Sharia Compliant Equity Trading. So it says why investing in Sharia compliant companies is fine. What are Sharia compliant stocks? A little bit in the detail about the criteria. What is purification? Last week's webinar was on purification. This is a video of the purification on the app. You can see the entire walkthrough of the desktop version as well over here. And this is the section I was talking about, which is intraday trading permissible. Then intraday buy first, sell, and then sell. Then another category is intraday sell first and then buy it back to settle the trade. Intraday using interest-free leverage and intraday using interest-bearing leverage. And then what is the rule about investment in non-compliant stocks, and what's the rule about investment in futures, options, CFD of Sharia compliant stocks. Sorry, and so on and so forth. So please have a look at this article as well. It's a very brief, principle-based article. It doesn't go through in terms of the exact ruling as to what is the Sharia reasoning for it. This just gives you an answer as to why these things have been, what is allowed and what's not allowed. All right. Quite a few questions coming in again. But let's just straight dive into the topic, intraday trading. It has been a question which has been asked quite regularly by a lot of users of Islamicly. That is intraday trading permissible? What are the rules of intraday trading? A lot of other sources that users have referred to say that intraday trading is not permissible. There are a couple of issues in the entire intraday trading space. The first one that a lot of people have confusion about is the hadith of the beloved Prophet, which states, and I'm paraphrasing it, that do not sell anything that you do not possess. Now, this is the principal rule that people quote in terms of saying that intraday trading is not permissible, because it might involve a scenario where you are selling something which you do not possess. Let me clarify, or let me elaborate this a little bit further. In intraday trading, it means that you buy something and you sell it quickly within the day. So you buy a stock which is Sharia compliant when the market opens, and before the market closes, you will have to sell it or square that position. So when you do that, where is the question of delivery? So essentially, you are buying something and selling that same stock before the market closes, and you have not received delivery of that stock. Hence, you have sold something which you do not possess. That is the basic principle of confusion between a lot of people that have this dilemma of whether should we invest in or whether should we adopt an intraday trading strategy. The other principle of delivery that mostly all stock markets follow globally is that if you buy some stocks today, let's call it T, you will get delivery of that stock in T+2. That is not tomorrow. Tomorrow is day 1 of the stock. Day after tomorrow is day 2 of that stock, and you have received delivery of that stock on day 2. When I refer to delivery of stock, what I mean is, since most stocks are digitally converted nowadays, it gets credited into your depository account, which is a digital depository account, and you can see a line item in your digital depository account that you have received this share. That's essentially what people refer to as delivery. When you sell stocks out of your digital wallet or the digital depository, that line item for that stock goes away. That means you have handed back the delivery of the stock that you have sold. So there are two things. One is when you have bought the stock, what has happened. Two is when you get delivery of it or credit of that stock in your depository participant or your digital wallet or your digital custodian for that stock. Now, this deposit happens not immediately. It happens after a couple of days. A lot of people, I'm repeating myself, consider credit in this depository account to be akin to delivery, and hence believe that once you get credit into your digital wallet or the digital depository of that stock, it's only now that you can sell the stock. So let us go through these rules one by one and understand what is delivery. The principle is very clear. You cannot sell something which you do not possess. Now, possession means delivery or rightful ownership on something that you have bought. So let us try and establish, when are you the sole owner, or when do you have the rights, sole rights over that stock? If you acquire those sole rights over those stocks, then you are entitled to sell. Let us examine that. Now, let us get things out of the way which are clearly not compliant. Okay. The first thing, if you sell the stock first and then buy it to square your position in the stock market on an intraday basis, this is clearly not compliant. It clearly violates the principle of selling something which you did not possess. This is called short selling as well in the market. That means you buy something, you sell something. I repeat myself. You come on the stock exchange platform or you come to your brokerage platform. You see the price of, let's say, XYZ as $100, and you think that price of this is overstated, or you off your analysis, you think the price of this stock will go down. So what you do is you do a sell order on the stock exchange. That means you say to the broker that you would like to sell this stock. Brokerage allow this. Hence, you have now sold $100 worth of stock. Let's say you have sold one stock itself. You now have to give this 100 stock to the buyer. So what you do then is you wait for the market. Before the market closes, you wait for the price to go down. And when that happens, you buy that stock, let's say, for example, at $90, and you have bought that stock. And 100 minus 90 is the profit that you make. And this profit, which has been accrued on an intraday basis by selling first and then buying back that stock, is clearly non-compliant. It is not permissible. All Sharia scholars are very clear in this stance that short selling is not permissible. So what is the other way around? The other way around is that you buy first in the market, expecting the price to go up from where you have bought, and is selling it on the same day when the price goes up, or let's say the price goes down, unfortunately, but you have squared that position. Is this kind of a trade Sharia compliant? The principle that a lot of people quote, again, I'm repeating myself for the benefit of new people who've joined in. The principle that a lot of people quote is, you've bought that stock that same day, you've sold that stock the same day, but since before selling it, you did not get possession of that stock. The reason they say that you have not got possession of this stock is because the stock exchange or the broker tells that you will get delivery of this stock in your digital wallet on a T+1 or a T+2 or a T+3 basis. Hence, when you sold this stock on the same day, you did not possess this stock. You are now selling something that you did not possess, which is in contravention to Sharia principles. Hence, this is not allowed. Let us examine, what does possession mean? Possession means that you have exclusive rights over something. You have 100. You become the owner of something. You are obligated to pay for that price of that something, and you are now have all the rights to dispose of or do whatever you want to do with a particular thing. That's when it is called ownership, or that's when it is called possession. If you study the contracts of most of the stock exchanges globally, if you study the contracts of most of the brokers globally, they clearly tell you that you as a trader become liable for two things upon doing an action. Since a lot or almost every exchange globally has become digital, all of the records are now digital. The entire processing of information for stock exchanges has become digital. Stockbrokers and stock markets, stock exchanges clearly specify when your buy order becomes enforceable, when your buy order has become executable, and when your buy order has become executed in the market. When you open your stock brokerage account, you look at prices, and there are bids and there are quotes. If I have used very simple language, people are quoting something and people are bidding for some price, right? So there is a spread between these two prices. There are sellers in the market at XYZ prices. There are buyers in the market at ABC prices. When the price of the buyer and the price of the seller matches, a trade happens. I don't need to tell you this. But when you want to place a buy order, you place a buy order either saying that get me the stock at whatever price there is in the market, or you tell that get me a price. Thank you, Tahir. Get me a price get me this stock at a specific price. So it could be a market order or it could be a limit order saying that buy this stock at whatever price is available in the market, or buy this stock at this specific price, and you give this order. At that point in time, are you the owner of those shares? The answer is no. The reason, because it has not executed. Once this order gets executed by the stock exchange through your broker, in the sense that there is a matching seller for that stock and the trade happens on that, there are two things which happens immediately. The first thing is the money that you have deposited with the broker, the digital wallet where you have kept the money, or the linked bank account from where you want your broker to debit the funds, gets activated. That means your money for that stock gets deducted and you are liable to pay for that buy order. Two, you get a confirmation from your stockbroker that this trade has got executed. At the end of the day, you also get a contract note which states, which is a deal between the broker, yourself, and the third party with the exchange regulating it, stating the entire details of the transaction. That is, what time you bought the stock, what quantity you bought the stock, which company you bought the stock, what class of share have you bought, and the total value of the transaction, including taxes and everything, is calculated and sent it to you by the end of the day by that broker. And that's called a contract note. When I repeat myself again, when you bought that stock, your money gets debited or gets blocked by the broker for the purchase of that stock. Two, you get an email confirmation or a digital confirmation in your my order section in your brokerage account, or wherever they give you a confirmation of your trade, or you get an entry in your trade book as well that you have bought a stock. At this point in time, you have not got credit in your depository participant account or a digital wallet account for this stock. Is this delivery? Is this possession? Sharia scholars have looked at that question, especially in this scenario of digital exchanges, electronic exchanges, and have ruled that once you get this confirmation from your stockbroker that your trade has got executed and the money that has been due for this trade has got debited from your account, or the broker is now entitled to debit that money from your account, although there may be a time lag between the actual buy order getting executed and the money getting debited from your account. But if the broker gets entitled to deduct that amount, you now become the owner of that stock. At this point in time, your ownership rights on this stock can be clearly established. There is a straightforward record that you are the owner of this stock. It is just a technical matter because of the clearing and settlement system that a lot of exchanges follow that allows for a delivery of that stock in your depository participant in a T+2 manner, or a T+3 manner, or a T+1 manner. Because the exchange has to follow a couple of steps so that the entire exchange of stocks happens. Hence, the settlement cycle takes T+1 or a T+2 basis kind of a thing for giving credit in the depository participant account that you hold. That is not delivery. Delivery means possession. Possession can clearly be established if you have the full rights and clear title of anything. This happens when you get a confirmation from your broker that this stock has been bought at this price, or the money that you have to pay for the stock is liable to be paid by you to the stockbroker and hence onwards to the seller of the stock. At this point in time, since you are the owner of this stock, you can most definitely go ahead and sell this stock on the same day, within a couple of hours, or within a couple of minutes as well. Hence, buying of stock on an intraday basis is permissible as soon as you become the owner of that stock. So the critical thing for Sharia compliant intraday traders is to figure out when are you getting that stock in your possession. That would mean you become the owner. Now, a couple of brokers clearly state that once you place a buy order, within a couple of minutes or within a couple of seconds, you will become the owner of that stock when these conditions happen. Like, I have been reading a couple of big broker accounts like Interactive Brokers, Robinhood, Vanguard, and a couple of international other brokers. And even in the subcontinent, you've got brokers like Amiri Trade, you've got brokers like Zerodha in India, which tells you at what are your obligations. And if you read the terms and conditions, they will clearly state at what point in time you will become the owner of that stock. Now, I have also written in my articles and my replies on the forum of Islamicly App, as well as a desktop. So in the forum section, there are a lot of people who have asked us what are the rules about intraday trading and have discussed this at length. I have said, if you read those terms and conditions, it will give you an idea as to when will you get the ownership of that stock. All of them have clearly mentioned that once your buy order gets executed, whatever kind of buy order it is, you will get a confirmation through email, through an SMS, through a contract note, in this section of your portal, that place in your login. When you see this action happening and the money being paid to the broker, at that point in time, you're the owner. Any sale transaction post that event means that you have sold something that you are in possession of, and it passes the Sharia rule of selling something which you have possession of. So I can't tell you exactly when this happens. So please do read the terms and conditions of your brokerage account and figure out whether this condition satisfies the condition of you being the owner of that stock. So let's put the record straight that intraday trading is permissible once the event of your possession of that stock happens. Possession of stock should not be confused with deposit of that share or entry of that share in your electronic wallet wherein you hold all your shares. Possession can take place much earlier. It takes place probably within a couple of seconds itself of that stock. Brilliant. Tahir Hussain says that in North America, these transactions happen instantly, whether it's buy or sell order. Then it's brilliant. If your broker confirms that as soon as you buy or sell, it's an immediate change of record, immediate settlement of these transactions. Instructions have been given to the stock exchange. Brilliant. When you get a confirmation from your stock exchange, it's at that point in time that you become the owner of that stock. Any sell transaction after this is completely permissible. There's absolutely no ambiguity amongst the leading scholars of Islamic finance that this intraday trading is permissible if this condition is met. Now, I have taken you through the scenario of buying first and selling later. What are the conditions that has to be fulfilled between these? I have taken you through the scenario of sell first and buy later. This is completely not permissible. Now let's move on. Okay, another brother, Abdul Qadir, says that I get a confirmation of the stock, but amount is deducted later. But that's fine, because if you read the terms and conditions of the broker will tell you that within this period, I will deduct the money, but you become liable to pay that money to me. So let's say your account is not funded and you have you bought some stock. You are now liable to the bank, to the broker, to pay for the stock, and hence you will have to fund that account. So it doesn't matter when if the money gets deducted instantly. It's just a technical matter as to how people settle the funds. And in a couple of countries, settlement between banks have different timelines. So if the technology of instant debits or instant deduction of money from a particular bank account is not available, it takes that settlement cycle. So that's a technical part of it, and it is not to be it is not to be confused with since the money is not deducted, I may not be in possession of things. No, let's look at this from a different example as well. Let's say you buy oranges from a particular market using your telephone. You call up a trader and say that I need to buy 100 kgs of oranges. The trader knows you. You have an agreement with the trader that if you give me a call and you say this, I will buy that stock from the market, and you will become liable for paying me for this buy transaction. Now, once this confirmation comes in from the person at the market that 100 kilograms of oranges have been bought, and please transfer the funds to me, you will then go open your bank account and make a transfer. Before the transfer has been made, you have become the owner of those oranges because of your action and your understanding with the seller that once I give you a call and say these and these things, I will have to become the owner. Secondly, now I might be sitting 50 or 100 kilometers away, or probably thousands of kilometers away from where I've bought these oranges. If I now have a buyer for these oranges, I can tell the seller that please dispatch these oranges to this other person, rather than getting the oranges to my go down and then selling them. Yes, there is a hadith which says that do not sell any food stuff that you bought in a market in the same place. Now, there are a lot of intricacies regarding this condition as well, and most of it is not applicable on stocks because these are digital commodities. These are not exactly physical trades which are happening, and hence the entire stock exchange operation is universal for the entire geographical region where it has jurisdiction over. So if you try and appropriate this hadith saying that I have sold the stock in the same place that I have bought it before taking possession of it, the question that has to be asked is, where are you taking the possession of? Is it physically different from where the stock exchange is, as the hadith states? No, it's all digital. It's all in some place where it could be probably in the same building that the depository account is being held, and the stock exchange is also housed. The entire marketplace is digital. There is no specific place where that exchange happens. Hence, this is, the scholars say that this is not an applicable rule that has to be apportioned for trading of stocks, since these are digital assets. Yes. Now, I think I've given reasonable clarification as to whether intraday trading is permissible and why it is permissible from a very basic standpoint, by giving a little bit of background from what the scholars have quoted. Let's move on to leverage-based trading. A lot of people will have questions regarding leverage-based trading. That means stock exchanges allow you to buy stocks without having funds in your account, and they would lend you that money, or a lot of people say that the stock broker lends you that stock to trade. And when you sell this stock, because it has been a borrowed stock, because it is a borrowed stock, when you sell this stock, you had not been the owner of that stock, or you did not possess that stock. Hence, is leverage-based trading Sharia compliant? I'll repeat the question that a lot of people ask is, fine, intraday trading is permissible. I can buy first and sell later. I got your point. I got what the scholars are saying. But can I do the same by using leverage? Or as a lot of people would say, that by paying a margin to the broker, as they call it. No, Tahiram, this is not option trading. I am referring to the point that, let's say you want to buy the stock of Apple, which, let's say, for example, it trades at $100 today. You do not have $100 in your account, or you want to buy, let's say, 100 quantity of the stock, and your broker allows you to place such orders, that is orders worth $10,000, although you might not have $10,000 in your account, but your broker tells you that, let's say you have $100 in your account and I will give you 100 times the leverage, so you can buy stocks worth 10,000. So you tell the broker, fine, the stock price of Apple is 100, you allow me to buy 100 times of the amount that I have in my bank, so that's $10,000. You place an order of 100 stocks of Apple at $100, so that's $10,000. But you had $100 in your account, hence the balance, $9,900, has been lent to you, or shares worth $9,900 has been lent to you by the broker. Since it is lent to you, you did not become the owner of that stock. Hence, if you sell the stock before the close of market, you have sold something that you did not possess. Question arises, is this permissible? Intraday trading, sorry. Yes, this is also called margin trading. Intraday trading of buying fast, selling later, using interest-free leverage is considered Sharia compliant by the Sharia scholars. I repeat myself, intraday trading of buying first, selling later, using the leverage provided by the broker, as long as it is interest free, it is permissible under Sharia. The reason being, if it has been lent to you, doesn't mean that it has been lent to you for usage. It has been given to you on a deferred payment basis. That means that you become the owner of that stock, just that you will have to make a payment for that stock before the end of that day or before the cutoff, as far as the broker mandates in his terms and conditions. That means even if you have borrowed that funds and bought that stock is bought in your name. You become the owner of that stock. Hence, you are completely in control, or you are the absolute ownership rights over that bought buy transaction. Hence, you have the absolute right to make a sell. After making that sell, you're entitled to get compensation for it. Using that compensation, if you have paid off the broker, because you're in profit now, inshallah, you have paid off the broker, it's completely permissible. Now, a question has arisen, and this I'm taking questions today as we move along, because these are technical things, and it's better to clarify a couple of things instantly. One brother has asked us, Anis, that interest free is not equal to fee free, right? Yes. If a broker charges you a fee which is fixed for executing a trade, for leverage based trading, it's fine, absolutely fine, as long as it's not interest. Interest in financial transactions is defined very clearly, because most of the brokers, all brokers and all exchanges are regulated, and hence the terms that they use are all standardized. If they say that for conducting intraday trade, they'll charge you 1 cent, 2 cent, 10 cents, or a couple of rupees, and they will not charge you interest if you square off the same day, then in that case, this is not considered to be an interest-based lending. It's a transaction fee is applied for every transaction in the stock exchange, and that's absolutely permissible in terms of paying that fee. Now, this also opens up, if leverage-based trading is permissible or intraday trading is permissible, given to the rule that I have spoken about, there is a risk in this that a lot of stock exchanges, that a lot of people talk about, and the stock exchanges also clearly mention, and the brokers also clearly mention about the risk, that is the risk of either short delivery or no delivery at all. That means that since you have bought the stock in the morning and you have not waited for the delivery or the credit of that stock in your depository participant account or your digital wallet account, which usually takes a cycle of T+1, T+2, or T+3, there may be a scenario that your buy order, which got matched to a seller's order, and that seller may not have possession of that stock in his depository participant account, or his digital wallet account, and he may have also bought that stock on an intraday basis. Hence, there may be a scenario where delivery of this stock or the execution of the stock may not happen on the stock exchange. I fully understand, the scholars fully understand this scenario, and the principal question that they always ask is, when you bought your stock on the exchange through a legal mechanism, through a framework that has given you the rights over that stock, irrespective of the fact that your seller might not have title to it, or let me correct, might not be able to deliver. The seller has title to it, hence the stock exchange has allowed him to sell, but the seller might not be able to deliver that stock to you, does not make a defect in your buy order, because the exchange has clearly mentioned that when a stock is available for sale, it is their responsibility to ensure that this stock gets delivered to you within a specified frame of time, or the title of that stock gets transferred to you upon getting a confirmation from your broker, or the money getting debited, whichever is earlier, or whatever the conditions are given in your brokerage account. At that point in time, you become the owner. If there is a short delivery, or if there is a missed delivery, or if there's no delivery, the exchange might levy a penalty on you for selling this stock without having possession of it, or without being able to deliver that stock. This penalty does not invalidate your ownership rights on that stock. You have not been able to deliver that stock because your seller was not able to deliver. But when you bought it, you had the clear title on that stock and your possession rights could be established. Hence, you went ahead and sold that stock. So if there is short delivery and if there is a penalty behind it, it does not negate your ownership rights over that stock. Okay, moving on. Intraday trading of buying first, selling later, using leverage, which is interest based. So a couple of brokers would charge you interest for lending the funds to you. In a couple of jurisdictions, this is interest free. In a couple of jurisdictions, the practice of the market is to give it basis interest. If there is interest involved in this lending process by your broker, then intraday trading, buying interest-based leverage is completely not permissible. Okay. Sid has asked us that majority Islamic scholars prohibited intraday trading. What about this? I have been speaking all along for the past 30-35 minutes for the past 45 minutes now of what the scholar's opinion is. And I repeat myself that Islamically does not give out its opinion. Islamically does not think what it thinks and then does these webinars or replies to your answers or does classifications of stocks on the Islamically web portal or the app basis its own interpretation. Now, whatever we say is what has been discussed with Sharia scholars. Who are these Sharia scholars? You can go on the Islamicly app to the profile section and see the Sharia scholars that we have, or you can go to Islamicly.com and see the Sharia scholars that we have. Alhamdulillah, we have been blessed to be working with the best Sharia scholars in the world. I use the word best. I shouldn't be using it because Sharia scholars are Sharia scholars. All of them, alhamdulillah, have the knowledge. What I mean to say is we work with such Sharia scholars who have been, mashallah, the pioneers in the Islamic finance industry. They have specialized themselves in the Islamic finance industry. and they are one of the leading scholars of thought in Islamic finance. This opinion comes in from them who have the experience of being on the Sharia boards of hundreds of financial institutions, both in the West as well as in the Arab world. They have looked at everything clearly, looked at modern day trading, looked at modern day exchanges, looked at modern day brokerage accounts, and have opined that intraday trading, if these rules are satisfied, if you are if the possession or the ownership of your buy order is established, you can go ahead and sell it, even if it is within a minute, within a second, or within a day. That's what the Sharia scholars have been saying. So that answers your question, Sid. Now, a lot of people would also come back and say that since this is akin to gambling, that is, I mean, I am not an expert on gambling, but from a Sharia perspective, gambling is something where there is excessive risk involved. That means risks which do not have a controlled factor, risks which are arising from pure chance. That's what is akin to what common people refer to as gambling. From a Sharia perspective, the thing which makes a trade transaction or a transaction non-permissible if it has excessive risk. When this is quoted, it means unsubstantiated risk, uncalculatable risks. When there are certain things like that, which happens in a game of chance or in a game of gambling, it is not permissible. Then a lot of people would say that stock trading is akin to gambling because things go up, things go down, and a lot of people say that it's a game of chance. You may make money, you may lose money. Hence, it is gambling. Hence, it should not be permissible. The scholars have clearly, a majority of scholars globally have looked at this viewpoint and have clearly rejected this viewpoint, stating that the stock market operation does not have unsubstantiated risk. Yes, it has risk. Definitely, it has risk. But these risks have certain principles. They have certain principles as to how a valuation of a company happens, why a stock price goes up, why it comes down. Yes, it may not be correlated with those underlying parameters, but there is a logic to it. There is a proper science to it. There is a proper machinery to it. In addition to that, the stocks that you are buying has an economic use. The stocks that you are selling has an economic use. They are real assets. They are real companies. They are guaranteed by the stock exchange that yes, there is a business behind it. Yes, there is a financial activity behind it. Yes, there is an economic activity behind it. A game of gambling or a game of chance or a game which involves excessive risk does not have any economic purpose behind it. The reason you make money or you lose money does not have an economic rationale behind it. Hence, gambling is not permissible. But trading in stocks on an intraday basis, if these things are satisfied, is not akin to gambling, is not similar to gambling. It's way different. Hence, the Sharia scholars have clearly opined that trading in stocks is Sharia compliant. There's absolutely no problem in that. I have gone through a lot of basics with you guys. Now, coming to certain other aspects of trading, not intraday trading, but trading. Before I start taking all the questions quickly, is first of all, not many questions have come today. Looks like all of you have, mashallah, become experts, which is very good. If you have questions, just keep putting the questions. We have 90 minutes and we just have about 40 minutes left to answer all these questions. Whether the questions are relating to intraday trading or any other questions whatsoever, let me answer these questions as soon as we finish. Before I move on to the next segment, Brother Anis has asked a very interesting question. He says, the leverage is so high that the risk exists that I have to pay the broker afterwards again because of high loss. Of course, the risk is high because you chose to up the stakes. That means you chose to buy things on leverage. Leverage is always a very tricky thing. So just because you used leverage and the risk factor became very high does not invalidate the risk involved in the basic transaction. What I mean to say is the basic transaction of buy first, sell later on an intraday basis, that risk remains the same, or whether the price will go up or will go down. But you have multiplied that risk by taking leverage and not having that kind of cash in your with yourself. Hence, the risk is your personal risk. It's not a Sharia risk that they say. It's not an inherent risk of the trade transaction. So if you are using leverage for anything, if you use leverage to buy orange, there is excessive risk in that as well, whether the price of the oranges might crash or the oranges might not have a buyer till they rot, or you do not have adequate storage. And since you have taken it on leverage, you will have to pay back that amount. Do not confuse yourself by saying that since the leverage has been used, the risk has become excessive, hence this thing becomes non-permissible. No, anything that you do using leverage is risky. Hence, if you are a Sharia compliant trader, try avoiding risk, try avoiding leverage based trading. It's always risky. Your entire capital can get wiped out. You become liable to the broker if one trade goes wrong. So that's something that you have. We are not investment advisors. You guys are experts in that. To answer your question in a short manner, leverage does increase your risk, but that does not increase the Sharia risk or the risk through which Sharia permissibility is to be calculated. Hence, leverage-based trading is allowed. Yes, risk is involved in any trade. Yes, the risk becomes quite high if you are using leverage-based trade. Avoid it and manage it. But that does not invalidate the Sharia permissibility of this trade transaction. Yes, Brother Zakaria. Muhammad Zakaria says, don't borrow to trade. Yes, don't borrow to trade. Thank you for the questions. Yes, I don't see a question which I need to answer right away, but I have answered the important question that intraday trading, is it akin to gambling or not? That's in the same thought flow. Another popular question which comes in the same way is, a lot of people say that buy today, sell tomorrow is a trade that is a trading option that the brokers allowed. It's called BTST. Is swing trading allowed? It's very similar to intraday trading. Is margin trading allowed? All of these questions are same. That is intraday trading allowed or not? The answer remains the same as whatever I have spoken all along. So margin trading is allowed if you buy first, sell later. It's allowed if that margin is given by the broker in an interest-free manner. And above all of this is permissible if the underlying stock is Sharia compliant. And how do you check if the underlying stock is Sharia compliant? Is by looking at Islamicly. I hope all of you know how to check the stocks on Islamicly. By the way, for people who have not subscribed, we have a couple of more hours left before we close the offer. I hope you are aware of the current offer going on for Islamicly subscriptions. quite a few people have said that the prices that we have set for subscriptions to Islamicly is quite high. Since we love you, we want you to trade in a Sharia compliant manner, and inshallah we will keep growing and we'll keep having more users. But since we have these 35,000 users who have not been able to subscribe, we have opened up the subscription offer, saying that you tell us what price you like. We will analyze that, and if we think a lot of people have bid at that same price, we will accept your bid, and you will get access to Islamicly app and desktop version for a way cheaper price than what is the full price. So please go ahead. I will put the link over here as to what is the link where you can make the offer. Please remember, this is getting over in just about exactly 3 hours 30 minutes from now, as you can see on the website as well. This is the link. I put it up here. It's called offers.islamicly.com. Please make an offer over here at inshallah, and do not forget to add your card. If your card has not been added, that offer will be rejected because that's not a valid offer. A lot of people have made really good offers which could have got accepted, which could have given them access to Islamicly, but they have not added their card. Hence, that offer was rejected, and hence they have lost out on the opportunity. You still have 3 hours 30 minutes. Please go ahead and make an offer of the minimum amount that you think you're happy to pay, and the maximum amount that you're happy to pay for Islamicly subscription for the full year for app plus desktop. Hence, please make an offer so that it gets accepted. And as we've written in the terms and conditions, only the top 500 offers will get accepted. We have already accepted quite a lot of offers. Slots are very few now. As you can see, there is a counter, or very transparent counter on the page itself, which tells you how many offers have been made. As we can see, we have already been given more than 500 offers. A couple of them did not have cards, so they will be rejected. So do add your card in the whole process. It's very simple to make an offer. Just select the markets that you want to access. You will be shown the entire price. You will be shown the entire price, and you can make a minimum and the maximum offer. Click submit. You will be asked to log in, input your username, password, so that we know who you are, and then add your card. Your card will not be charged immediately by the offer price. Your card is stored by our payment service provider, which is Stripe, which has the highest level of security. We will not charge your account or your card for any amount other than the minimum and the maximum. That is an amount in the middle. So please go ahead, make the offer. I've given the link. It's called offers.islamicly.com. Go ahead and utilize this opportunity. Let's come back to the topic of the webinar. Before I start taking all the questions, inshallah, very soon, and we've got quite a few questions now, alhamdulillah, I will quickly go through one of the related topics to trading of stocks. Is a lot of people have asked us that, can I buy stocks which are Sharia compliant by sector, but they fail the financial ratio screening? I spoke about this in the last webinar as well, but let me take a couple of minutes to speak about this. Please note that you can buy stocks which are Sharia compliant. Sharia compliant means they should satisfy the criteria. The criteria is a combination of sector screening and financial ratio screening. Hence, it has to be bought if it is Sharia compliant. That means it has to be passing both the criteria. You cannot buy a stock which is sector compliant and fails the financial ratio and say that I can purify or do whatever magic you want to do. No, it's not permissible. If a stock is Sharia compliant, it has to be Sharia compliant both ways. All right. Let's start taking the questions since we have just about 30 minutes left in this webinar. Brother Jabir has asked, commodity is haram or halal? I'm not sure what you're referring to, but he's asking, is trading in commodities halal or haram? Yes, trading of commodities on a spot basis is Sharia compliant. I'm not sure how many commodity exchanges allow for that. Most of the contracts that are available in commodity exchanges are for futures or options, which is not for futures of that commodity, which is not a Sharia compliant activity. So trading of commodity is permissible as long as it's on a spot basis. Brother Tahir Hussain has said that I hope you are covering ETFs and EFTs on the Islamicly platform. Inshallah, very soon we will be covering all the ETFs for you to figure out which ETF is Sharia compliant. In addition to this, the principles for an ETF to be Sharia compliant, let me give it out to you very clearly. One, it has to be certified as Sharia compliant by a Sharia board of scholars. Two, all the stocks in that ETF basket should be Sharia compliant. Three, the entire product should have a Sharia audit. So whenever you try and invest in an ETF, look for these things. And you might not have to do all of this research because very soon Islamicly is going to start off an ETF section on the portal itself so that you can also view all the ETFs which are Sharia compliant. Ulfat is asking me, is trading in Nifty 50 permissible? Ulfat, trading in Nifty 50 as I understand is an index. Trading in this index is not permissible because it is not Sharia compliant. Trading in Nifty 50 Sharia is Sharia compliant. If you have that product available, then you can trade in that if it is Sharia compliant. Muhammad Zakaria is asking, where is the Islamicly website? I can't find it. A lot of other brothers have helped him out. Thank you. Brother Anis has asked me a question. What about speculation or gharar in relation to this topic? Gharar is the Arabic term for excessive risk. I have already discussed this. So if any transaction has excessive risk, that transaction is not permissible in Sharia. I have already said that stock trading has principles, has risk management principles, has a principle through which risk can be assessed. Yes, you can go wrong in that assessment. That's entirely different. But it does not. A lot of scholars, most of the scholars, have clearly opined that stock trading is not akin to entering into a gharar-based transaction or an excessive risk-based transaction. I have given you a small explanation earlier as well. Hence, intraday trading is permissible. It is not akin to a gharar-based transaction. That's how the scholars have looked into it. Okay, Aisha has asked us a question. I have a demat account with Angel. Angel Broking is a stockbroking account in India. I am given to understand that I have 48 hours to settle once I buy a share. Sometimes I buy a share for intraday and suddenly the market drops or the price of the share drops. So I decided to carry over the stock. I either sell it the next day or the day after before the payment becomes due. I may or may not have adequate balance in my account. However, I ensure that I am in position to pay in the worst case scenario of me being unable to sell within the 2 days. Is it allowed? Yes, it is allowed. If you're allowed to, if you bought first, either using leverage or without using leverage, and if you have not settled it the same day, if your broker allows you to carry forward the stock the next day, that's fine. When you buy, you are liable to pay for that stock, and the broker allows you a couple of days to settle. That's something which is permissible. It has absolutely no problems in that. Yes, I don't see a problem in what you're trying to do. So what she says is, she's bought a stock first, not able to settle the same day, carries forward to the next day. There is definitely a charge that the broker is going to charge you. Have a look at that. There's definitely a leverage cost if you're doing this through leverage. There's definitely a leverage cost that the broker is going to charge you. Look at that, whether it is interest based or if it is interest free. If it is interest based, the carry forward will not be allowed because the entire transaction has now got an element of interest, it will not be allowed. If the broker allows you to carry forward the stocks to the next day without charging you interest, which I think will be very rare, it should be fine. Absolutely no problems in that. And she says that she's in a position to pay for that stock, which is also very good. So there's absolutely no problem in this kind of trade. Tahir Hussain says things have changed tremendously from the times of the Prophet, peace be upon him. There should be some ijtihad to modify some rules to the times today. I'm not a Sharia scholar because this is a principle of Sharia that we're trying to talk about. But let me tell you these things that all of these things, the entire stock trading mechanism is a product of ijtihad. Joint stock companies as a concept is not 1400 to 50 years old. Joint stock company is a relatively modern concept, just about probably 100 years old concept. The Sharia scholars have done ijtihad. UFI has done ijtihad. The OIC, the Fiqh Academy Council, the Fiqh Academy has done ijtihad. There are various scholars board which has done ijtihad. There are various academic universities which have scholars on them have done ijtihad. So yes, ijtihad is being done. There is a lot of work which keeps happening. We are connected to all of these scholars, and we constantly see them asking for data, asking for research, because they're doing ijtihad and because they're talking to each other. They're talking to a lot of scholars, and they're trying to figure out what should be the modern diktat under the modern circumstances for all of these financial transactions. So yes, ijtihad is being done. So there's no doubt about that. Islamically is also contributing to that ijtihad by doing all these webinars, by taking knowledge from you, going back to the scholars and feeding them to devise better to devise better rules which are more in conformity with Sharia. This is also part of that process. Tahir Hussain has asked a question again, saying that what about stop loss selling? Stop loss selling is Sharia compliant. There's absolutely no problem. The stop loss essentially is something that you say that at this price, the market should, my stockbroker should automatically sell this stock, or does not buy beyond this price. It's fine. It's a commercial transaction, nothing to do with Sharia. Stop loss selling is, as long as other rules of trading is satisfied, if you put a stop loss, it's completely fine. Tahir Hussain has again asked us that what about option trading? I have sent out a couple of notifications as well on the Islamicly app, as well as an email on the Islamicly email campaigns that we keep doing regarding options and futures. Let us not get into the debate of options and futures and why they're not compliant. Very, very clearly, conventional options and futures are not compliant. There can be a variant of such kind of trading behavior using certain Islamic principles, which could be a salam contract, which could be a wad based contract, or which could be a double wad based contract. These are instruments through which you can do option trading, akin to option trading in an Islamic manner. So I'm not too sure in which jurisdictions these are available, but I am akin to the fact that yes, there are options, there are instruments available which give you these facilities, which are designed in a Sharia compliant manner as well. Not too sure if you as a retail investor has access to that, but yes, there are products which can allow you to trade in such manner using Sharia compliant principles. Just a second. So conventional option trading is not permissible. Even if the underlying stock is Sharia compliant, if you buy an option or have a futures on an option strategy or a derivative strategy on a Sharia compliant stock, it is not permissible in the conventional sense. Brother Rashid has asked us, give me some light of margin trading. I have already spoken about intraday trading using margin, using leverage. All of this I have already spoken about. Muhammad always says some brokers may debit money during the placement of the limit order itself. That's fine. They are technologically advanced. They can pass instructions quickly. Brother Anis says that he gets a confirmation in 30 minutes for his trade. So that would be the point in time where you become the owner of that stock. So if you do an intraday trade before this 30-minute period, it will not be permissible because the trade has not got executed or your broker has not confirmed that you have now become the owner of the stock. You will have to wait for that 30-minute window. Brother Abu Siddiq has asked, when I place an intraday buy order, when it matches my price, the share comes into my possession. Will I then become the owner of the shares? If the rules of your brokerage account state that at this point in time you become the owner, and he gives you a confirmation for this, confirmation basically means a proof through which you can establish your ownership rights. Once you have that event triggering in, you can sell that stock. Tahir Hussain says again, in North America, these transactions happen instantly, whether it's a buy or sell order. Alhamdulillah, very good. Then you can do intraday trading even more frequently. Deduction of funds from your account is not a condition for ownership, as long as your broker tells you the conditions of ownership, and if that is met, that's fine. Payment of money is actually a technical matter. It doesn't affect your ownership status. Payment for their stocks also considers the payment infrastructure in that jurisdiction and the instructions that you have given to deduct the money. So whether the money is actually left your account is not very material, but are you liable to pay for that is material. Subakatin bin Khamis has asked, what about gold stocks? I'm not sure what you're referring to, but if you're referring to mining companies, then you'll have to look whether that mining company is Sharia compliant on Islamically. If you're referring to a gold trading company, then you'll have to also again refer to Islamically to figure out if that is Sharia compliant. If you are referring to a scheme which buys physical units of gold and makes a digital asset out of it and sends you a certificate that you can buy, it's permissible as long as the entire scheme is Sharia certified. Also, it is done on a spot basis. But Anis has asked us, Salam contracts are not possible in the stock exchanges. You'll have to see which jurisdiction you're talking about. Salam is a Sharia compliant derivative instrument, and it is certified by Sharia Scholars to be Islamic. You'll have to see in which jurisdiction you are and if your stock exchange has that facility. Abu Siddiq says that, can I get a video of this? All webinars will be available on our YouTube channel, inshallah, very soon. And as soon as if you're registered through the technology tool that we use, Webinar Jam, for 7 days, this is available on the same link. I am skipping the question that I've already taken. Yes, Brother Anis has also asked, interest free is not equal to fee free, right? If you pay a fee to do intraday trading, that's fine. If interest is being charged, the broker will clearly tell you this is interest. Interest-based leverage is not allowed. Fee-based, it should be fine as long as it's fixed and it doesn't depend on the number of trades that you do. I've already spoken about what about the risk of short delivery in case of intraday. We've also spoken about intraday trading being akin to gambling. And I've given you the opinion of the Sharia scholars. The opinion of the Sharia scholars is intraday trading or trading in stock exchange is not similar to gambling operations. Gambling is a pure game of chance. It has excessive risk in it, hence it is non-compliant. Stock market also has risk, but there is a science to it. There is an economic activity to it, hence it is permissible. Okay, Brother Abu Siddiq has asked a very interesting question. They said that the broker is charging 0.03% or rupees 20 per executed order, whichever is lower. And he's quoting a name of the broker, which is Zerodha. Whether this is okay, I have doubt because they don't have fixed, because in this option they are charging 0.03% or 20 rupees. As you can see, in this scenario, especially in the case of Zerodha, they clearly write in their offering document, in their terms and conditions, that the leverage provided to you if you square the positions on the same day is interest free. The charge of doing a transaction is either rupees 20 or 0.03% of the trade value. So they have clearly defined that this is the charge, that is 0.03% or 20 rupees, whichever is higher. And they clearly defined that there is no interest that they're going to charge on this intraday leverage. Because they're regulated and all brokers are regulated, they have to define these things clearly. So this I have read the offering document or the terms and conditions of this broker called Zerodha. I am quite clear that this is not interest. Brother Anis says that when you buy, for example, CFDs, you would not really possess the stock. For that reason, it should be non-permissible. You're absolutely right. CFDs, options, futures, derivatives are not compliant. Sid says that majority Islamic scholars prohibit intraday trading. What about this? I've answered this question already. Anis had asked a question. The leverage is so high that the risk exists that I have to pay the broker afterwards again because of high loss. It's the loss of trading. This risk that you took does not make the transaction non-permissible. It's a business risk that you have taken. Anything done on leverage involves high risk, so you should be very careful. Tahir Hussain has asked, limit orders are allowed? Yes, they're allowed if they satisfy to all the other trading conditions that I have spoken about. Abu Siddiq has answered that why are you buying shares for high leverage? Buy the shares within your balance. Alhamdulillah, that's a very good approach. Tahir Hussein's second question is, are stop loss and trailing stop limit orders allowed? Yes, it is allowed. It's a technical thing. And again, he says, I believe the same rules which are good for equities are good for commodities, including metals or oil or currencies. Yes, it is almost the same. Brother Tahir, I've answered all your three questions. Abu Siddiq says that can intraday be allowed in oil and currency as long as it is on spot basis? Let me also try and tell you one more thing, that all of these apps which have this gamification kind of a thing, wherein the price goes up and price goes down, and you just have to put a bar up and a bar down, and the price moves up and moves down, and then you make money. These are not spot contracts. Okay, something like Options IQ, or I don't know. There are so many ads that you see nowadays. These are not spot contracts. Read the terms of the actual financial contract that they're offering you. These, although they sell it as trading in forex, although they say that it is trading in oil, they are not spot contracts. So have a look in the terms and conditions as to what are these contracts. Are these futures, derivatives? What are these contracts? Have a look at that. you will figure it out that they are not spot contracts. If they are spot contracts, then trading in them is absolutely permissible. There is no problem in it. Brother Abdul Qadir is asking me, what is the least offer you guys accepted? I can't tell you that right now. Try and bid. You will instantly get the probability. It's a moving algorithm. You will get the probability of your bid getting accepted or rejected. Try putting multiple bids. The best bid will get accepted, or the bid which satisfies most of the other users' conditions will get accepted. This is the best opportunity for anyone to subscribe to Islamically. I would say all the 150 people who have come into this webinar should definitely bid, should definitely try and access Islamically. You will get the full functionality. You become a full member of Islamically at your price. The bids are closing in just about 3 hours. If you go on the offers of the Islamically page, the link is given in the comment section. I will put it up again for everybody. It's called offers.islamically.com. Do not miss this. It is for your benefit. We have opened it up so that one, we get feedback as to what prices is comfortable for you, and of whatever is comfortable to you, if it is acceptable to us, and if it is becoming the average of whatever other people have bid for, we will accept it. Do not forget to put the card. It's absolutely safe. We are in the ethical business. We will not charge your card if you have not bid. We will not charge your card with the full amount. We will not charge your card with any amount which is outside your maximum and minimum bid amount, inshallah. So be assured that if your bid is accepted, your card will be handled in the most ethical manner. And secondly, we don't have your card details. We're not entitled to keep your card details. Your card details are stored by an authorized payment gateway, which is having the highest level of security. You can see it on the website also. It's powered by Stripe. Absolutely safe and secure. Do bid. It closes in 3 hours. This is the best opportunity that you can get ever to subscribe to Islamically app plus desktop for 1 full year at the price that you wish. Also remember, a low bid, as you might be shown on the offer page, might not be accepted. Ensure that your bid is reasonable. Ensure your bid is amongst the highest. We already have more than 500 bids. We're accepting only 500. So the higher the bid, the better your chance of getting accepted. In spite of that being higher, it's still lower than the original price. Hence, you can choose your own discount. We're doing this for you. Please take the benefit of this. Moving on to the other questions. We just have less than 10 minutes before we should finish this off. If you have any other questions, please post it, and please do go ahead and make an offer as well for Islamically. Anis has asked a question. Another question: some brokers allow not to buy only a full share, also to buy parts of the share. Are you then real owner of this part? Is it permissible? I'm not sure what you are referring to. A share anyway is a part of that company. So if a broker says that you can buy a part of a physical share, you are any which way a part owner of that stock. Now, I'm absolutely not sure if there are 10 parts of one share, as we conventionally call it. I'll have to study this and get back to you, but I'm just thinking out loud. If there are 10 parts to one share and all 10 of them should be bought in a Sharia compliant manner, all 10 parts should satisfy the conditions of intraday trade, then you can do the short selling. Then you can do the intraday trading. I'm not sure which broker allows this. I have not heard much about this. If you have any literature about it, or a broker that does it, please do send it to us, and I'll have a look at it. Wasif has asked us a question. If I position in a stock, I sell and buy in same day, that permissible after that transaction. So you're asking that if I hold a position in that stock, that is, it is part of your purchased commodity, and you sell that stock and then you buy it back. From a Sharia perspective, what is happening is the sell is happening out of your holdings because you already held that stock. Your position is now zero. You buy back that stock. Okay. Now the position is the same as in your DMAT account or your DP account. It's technical that the stock exchange doesn't send these stocks out and bring the other stocks in because they are homogeneous in nature. It is perfectly permissible because you've sold it, something that you have already bought. You bought something which is Sharia compliant. Again, it may be the same commodity, it may be the same share, doesn't matter. It should be Sharia compliant. Brother Adil says, please share Sharia compliant criteria. Adil, you can go on Islamicly.com website. There on the top right itself. I will show it to you right away for the convenience of all the other users as well. This is the Islamicly website, and you can see screening criteria over here. Please go through the screening criteria. It is very detailed. If you go over here, it will also tell you, if you click on your advisor at many Islamic financial institutions. So we've got the best of the best Sharia scholars to help you out and guide us in this endeavor of investing in an Islamic manner. Let me come back to the questions. Abdul Qadir says that, do you suggest which stocks to buy to make a profit? Sorry, we don't suggest stocks. We are not an investment advisor. We keep compliance independent of investment advice. Tahir Hussain, I've answered all your questions. Brother Anis is asking a question. When the Sharia compliant stocks becomes non-compliant, we can wait for 30 days and look if it switches again to Sharia compliant, but have 90 days. You have set times, it's 90 days to sell. But what it gets Sharia compliant again after 35 days and I didn't sell it yet? Very, very simple. A stock has turned compliant. A Sharia compliant stock has become non-compliant. You have 90 days to sell this stock. The first 30 days is for you. You can wait if it becomes compliant. If it does in 30 days, then nothing. You come back to the original position that you are possessing Sharia compliant stock. If it still remains Sharia non-compliant on the 31st day, you have to sell that stock. And let's say since the limit is 90 days and you have not sold that stock, you have kept it, and on the 35th day it has become compliant. What happens now? What you need to do is that the 5 days in which it was non-compliant, you will have to calculate the gains, the notional gains during this period, and purify that in that period. If there is no notional gain in that period, you can continue holding that stock without purification. Clear? Fayyaj has asked the question, is buying oil permissible? Yes, it's permissible as long as it's on a spot basis. Tahir Hussain has asked, what about currencies? Yes, you can buy currencies on a spot basis, but all of the contracts that are available on the internet, all the trading options that are available on the internet do not allow currencies to be bought on spot. Doesn't make any sense. Hence, you have to be very careful about buying currencies on the internet using exchanges. Kamal says, is it best to invest in mutual fund or directly trade in stocks? Which is better when the mutual and stock are Sharia compliant? Brother Kamal, you're asking us an investment advice. We do not give investment advice. You can put the question in the forum section of the app, and a lot of your co-traders will give you answers as to what is better. Brother Syed says, Assalamu alaikum, walaikum salam. In Upstock Broker, I have select delivery. Can I buy and sell same day? I've already answered this question. Yes, you can buy and sell the same day if it has Sharia compliant stock and it is without leverage, or if it is with leverage, it should be interest-free leverage. Brother Abu Siddiq says, can we buy Sharia compliant stocks within the Nifty index? You can buy it if it is within the Sharia compliant Nifty index. iShares MSCI Islamic ETFs are Sharia certified. I think also from the same scholars that are also your advisors, but it seems to include also Sharia not compliant stock from the perspective from Islamicly. I'm not sure which stock you're referring to. If there is a stock which is different, you can let us know. The principal reason why that will be different is MSCI uses an asset-based criteria. If I can bring up the MSCI criteria, MSCI uses the financial ratios on the asset basis. So it's debt by total assets. Our Sharia criteria is debt by market capitalization, which is 36 months average, or cash by market capitalization, which is 36 months average. So there may be stocks which may be part of a Sharia index or a Sharia ETF, but since I can see it is branded by MSCI, MSCI has a different criteria than us. Brother Siddiq says, can you write on a website everything you talked about? We keep writing about these things. The rules of trading are already there on the website. It's on the blog section. We wanted to do this AMA, this webinar, so that you can send us the questions. Sid says, what about those Islamic scholars who prohibit intraday trading? I've answered the question from the Sharia Scholars perspective itself, that intraday trading is permissible subject to the terms and conditions that I spoke about. Brother Abrar says, are you from India and where is Islamicly from? What do you think? Let it be exciting. Aisha says, Alhamdulillah, sometimes you make a windfall gain in an intraday trading that you feel, if you can rightfully use the gain, have not even paid for it in the first place itself. Making a lot of profit in an Islamic manner is not a bad thing. Simple answer. If you satisfy all the conditions and you make a gain, Alhamdulillah, it's permissible. Being rich or being wealthy is not an un-Islamic principle. Making a huge amount of profit using your intellectual capability is not un-Islamic. It's fine. Aisha has asked, do you have a write-up on trading in international markets? Not too sure what you're referring to. Are the brokerage and other costs prohibitive? Not sure what you're referring to. If it is on the investment side, which broker to use, which broker not to use, we are not involved in it as of now. We stick to the Sharia principles of trading for now. Some scholars say swap fees are permissible. Gap between ask and bid. Don't think so. The Sharia scholars that we refer to, the ones we work with, do not allow this in a conventional manner. If it is structured in an Islamic manner, it is permissible. Aisha has asked a very good question. I've already answered it previously. She said, I buy some shares for intraday, but carry forward and sell it the next day. However, I get a notification the third day that there was a short delivery in the first place, and hence shares are auctioned and I'm credited a higher amount for the short delivery. However, I have already sold and hence now there is short selling and I have to buy the shortfall to square it off. It is beyond my control. How is it viewed? It's permissible from a Sharia perspective because when you bought it, you satisfied all the conditions of being the owner. You did not know that the seller of the stock who is selling to you may not be able to deliver that stock to the broker. It is beyond your control. it is definitely not something that you need to bother about. Hence, it is Sharia compliant. Abu Siddiq has asked me a question. Do you follow AOP standards or other standards for screening? I have answered this question in the last webinar as well. To be very frank, AOP has been set in the year 2004 by a very credible Sharia Scholars board. But AOP standards may not give specifications for treatment of a lot of issues which have come in post 2014. They set the principle for Sharia compliance. We would not say, Islamically will not say that we do not follow AOP criteria, but our criteria is different from AOP criteria in the sense that it is an enhancement to the AOP criteria. The Sharia scholars who sat down in AOP to build the criteria have also been part of the Sharia Scholars Board of Islamically. As I've said, Islamically's Sharia Scholars Chairman, Dr. Muhammad Al-Ghari, is also a part of the Sharia Scholars of AOP. Not only he is also in the Board of Trustees of AOP, he is also on the Sharia Standards Committee of AOP. We had a couple of scholars in the past, a couple of scholars that we work not only on Islamically, but on the other Sharia Scholars Board that we are the research partners for, are also part of the AOP. Hence, any AOP criteria that we have any issue upon, we can discuss with the Sharia scholars, the same Sharia scholars who have been a part of the AOP. Short answer, our criteria is similar to AOP, but it is in its current format different from AOP. Now, when I say different, it is an extension of the AOP criteria. Wajid says, I'm shown the bid closing on 27 June. Is that a time zone issue? Yes, it's a time zone issue. It is going by the US time. Just 2.5 hours are left. It's still open. You can go ahead and bid. Wasif says, if I have a position in a stock, I sell and buy the same day. Yes, you can do it. Muhammad Zakaria says, do you have an Islamic ETF recommendations? We don't do recommendations as of now. We're not licensed to do recommendations. We want to keep the Sharia compliance status research independent. Muhammad Uwais says, what about purification of stocks? Is it required for Sharia compliant mutual funds also? Yes, purification is required on individual investments as well as on mutual funds. If a mutual fund is Sharia compliant, that mutual fund itself will give you the answer as to what is the purification required. Brother Wasif has asked the same question what Aisha had asked or other people have asked. If I have a position in a stock, I sell and buy in the same day, and after the transaction, my early position remains the same. Is it permissible? Yes, it's permissible. It's just a technical thing. You have, from a Sharia perspective, you already had stocks in your digital wallet or the depository participant. Now you sell that stock, right? You buy another stock, okay? When you sell this stock, you are selling this stock, okay? When you buy this stock, you're buying a fresh stock. But because the stock exchange considers this transaction to be an intraday, they maintain their position of the same stock. It's homogeneous. It's not that this stock that you sold and this stock that you bought is different, right? It's homogeneous. It's the same thing. Hence, they keep that stock in your demat account. It's permissible. And he says, to my question below, with part of shares, for example, trading 212 from UK allows it. One share is held by the broker for more than one user. So you can't, for example, transfer your part of the share to another broker. Then it's not compliant, because if you do not have full ownership of that share, you can't sell that. Abu Siddiq has said that what is the difference in screening of TASIS and EOFI? TASIS is an Indian advisory firm which also does screening services. EOFI is a standard setting body. From what I understand, TASIS has a very low permissible threshold. That means EOFI says that non-permissible incomes from operating activities of a company should be less than 5%. TASIS says it should be less than 0%. That means if a company is involved in any non-permissible activity and they get even 0.0001% revenue from that activity, which is non-permissible, this company will not be allowed for investment. Whereas AOFI has a tolerance limit of 5%. So that's one of the fundamental differences. Secondly, from a financial ratio perspective as well, there is a difference between the ratios that AOFI follows and TASIS follows. Our screening criteria is closer to AOFI criteria. Okay, there are a couple of questions about the offer page. That's something that we can look into later. I have got a couple of questions to cover, and I've already exceeded my time. I will quickly go ahead and answer this question. Is Bitcoin buying Sharia compliant? It's a very tricky question. It depends. If you're just buying Bitcoin for the heck of buying Bitcoin and trading it, a lot of scholars consider it non-compliant, because if you consider Bitcoin as a currency, trading in currency on a spot basis is allowed, but if you're buying a futures contract on it, it's not allowed. If you consider Bitcoin as a commodity and you're buying it and you're selling it, it's allowed. If you consider it, if you buy it as a futures contract, then it's not allowed. So you'll have to read the terms and conditions as to what your broker is allowing and how he is giving that Bitcoin to you. Regarding zakat on paying shares, it's a big topic. Inshallah, we'll cover it next week, or else in the meanwhile, we'll do a write-up as well. Sayyid had asked how capital gain is screened. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Essentially, if you're saying that there is no purification on capital gains, it's only on dividends. If that's what you're saying. Brother Adil says, what is the Sharia criteria for screening stocks? It's already available on the app in the profile section, as well as on the Islamicly website, islamicly.com. Call put option allowed? No, it's not allowed. Wasif has said, if I have a position in a stock which, knowing that the stocks are not in Sharia compliant, then what to do? You have to sell that stock. If you have bought a stock which is Sharia non-compliant at the start, you have 7 days to sell it out. All the capital gains that you make, capital gains, not the capital gains that you make has to be purified. Purified would mean it has to be given away to charity. Abu Siddiq says that there is a stock known as KMC, specialty of Indian market and Islamically, passed in screening, but in another app it failed, they say, following AOFI. Brother, you can request a screening, you can ask a question, you can start a discussion on Islamicly app and question why it is Sharia compliant, and we'll give you all the details. You can do the similar exercise with the other app which says that they are following AOFI criteria and why it passes. Compare the answers and you will get who is more credible and who is doing proper research. Option is yours. Yes, I know about Ethica Institute to learn about Islamic finance. Not sure, not looked into much. Please, I have not really looked into it. See, you've got an answer already that somebody else has done a certification from Islamic Finance to Matika, and they recommend it. Muhammad Uwais has said that in Islamicly mobile app, when I tap on Purify in the tab of some stocks and entered the details of dividend, but shown zero as a result, is that stock 100% interest free? Yes, that stock is 100% interest free. That means it doesn't have any impure income if the dividend purification is zero. With that, it comes to the end of this webinar. The couple of things that I want to point out. One, do utilize the offer. It's getting over very soon. Two, please let us know if this timing of the webinar and the date of the webinar is good. You can drop a comment over here or send us feedback on info@islamicly.com or send us a WhatsApp on our business account indicating what is the best time that you like for having this webinar. We're doing this at different times so that we can get the best audiences and so that you also can join the webinar as much as you can. I think we have taken a lot of time already. Abrara sent a question saying that can I recommend any Islamic certification courses? As of now, we have not looked into this. Inshallah, if we have more and more questions like this, we will get back to you. And if there is if there are any other questions, we will have a look at it. Aisha says, no, it's too early. Please have it after Maghrib IST. We try and accommodate both the Western world as well as the Eastern world. This webinar was for the Western world. The last webinar was for the Eastern world. Inshallah, going forward, we can have two webinars on the same topic at different timings. If we have a lot of users from both sides of the world, we don't mind doing this in different timings, but please do let us know. Brother Anis says that the webinar was between 2:30 and 4:30 a.m. in Germany, not the best time. I agree, it's not the best time. Inshallah, we'll try and accommodate both the East and the West on separate timings. The same topic can be discussed twice. We are absolutely fine with that. I think that brings us to the end of the questions as well. I always exceed the time allotted to me, 90 minutes, and we are already an hour and 53 minutes up. Thank you for joining us, and I hope all of you will utilize the offer. All of you will make bids. Do give your cards in. The offer closes just about 2.5 hours from now. This is the best time, the best place, and this also would give you an opportunity that Islamically is for you. Another very important thing I wanted to tell you is, please go to the app stores and give a review about us. It will help us in terms of improving. It will also help the other users who are coming in to get a rounded view as to what Islamically is. You guys have gone through this webinar. You know what Islamically is. You have, alhamdulillah, credibility on Islamically. But the new users might not. There are a couple of comments which are not very favorable for us out there. Please give us feedback on the Play Store, whether you're an iOS user or an Android user. We will keep updating the app. We will keep updating the technology. We can definitely give you more tools, make this thing better. But in terms of credibility, we have no compromise at all. In terms of Sharia screening, we have no compromise at all. And he says, sorry, last question, is it possible to pay via PayPal? Yes, it's possible to pay via PayPal. Just get in touch with the chat function over there and ask them to send you a PayPal link for your offer. If your offer is acceptable, they will send you a PayPal link as well. Absolutely no problem. Just get in touch with the chat function or on the WhatsApp account that you have. Jazakallah khair to everybody for attending this. I hope this has been useful. If you have feedback regarding the webinar, if you have feedback regarding my pace, if you have feedback regarding my knowledge, if you have anything in terms of this webinar as well, if you think this is useful, please do let us know through a review on the App Store. If you think this is useless, and we are doing a crappy job, please do let us know through the reviews on Play Store. We really need it. We really need more and more subscriptions. We really need the word to spread. Please do tell other people as well to join Islamically, and we will endeavor to give you the most well-researched, the most up-to-date, the best tools in this industry, and to make this place, Islamically, the best place for everybody else to invest in a Sharia compliant manner in the cheapest possible manner. Jazakallah khair. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.